I've been able to gain 5 pounds of lean muscle mass in just 8 weeks. And in this video, I'm going to show you guys exactly how I did it step by step so that you guys can see very similar results. And I made some massive changes. Those changes are what I'm going to be talking about and discussing today in full detail. So let's not waste any more time and let's get into the video, guys. Let's go. Now, what's the first major change that I made? Well, the first major change was my diet. Now, I've been working out for a very long time. You guys saw in the video, I was skinny, I was soft. But that was because I had surgery on my shoulder last year and I lost a lot of weight. And in previous bulks, whenever I decided to bulk, I would increase my calorie surplus by 600 to 800 calories above maintenance, which is ridiculous thinking back. When I did so, I would gain so much fat along the way. And when I would go to cut, it would be even a lot harder. I would have to do a lot more dieting, a lot more cardio. I don't hate cardio, but I'm not the biggest fan of cardio. I like my life easy. When I decided to make the change this time around, I increased my calorie surplus by only 200 to 400 calories a day. By doing this, I was able to gain slow and steady lean muscle mass without gaining too much fat. So now that means not only do I look good throughout my bulk, but also when I go to cut, I don't have to worry about dieting that hard. I don't have to worry about doing that much cardio and all that extra stuff. You have to be smart about your calorie intake. So the main point here is 200 to 400 calories above your maintenance. So that should be your surplus. That's what I did. And by doing so, I was able to see really good results with that. So now what's the second major change that I made in my diet? Well, the second major change is I decided to make sure I was ingesting high quality protein every 3 hours on the dot. I mean, I would wake up in the morning and the first thing I would do, I would take in some whey protein and I would also pack some whey protein for work. Before lunch, I can have more whey protein so that I'm getting high quality protein every 3 hours on the dot. Now, you may ask yourself, why is it every 3 hours? Well, after doing some research, I realized that's the most optimal way of doing it because you have to think about muscle protein breakdown and muscle protein synthesis. Now, I'm not going to give you guys a massive science lesson here. I'll just give you guys a quick overview. Now, muscle protein breakdown is basically when your muscles start breaking down and they don't have enough protein to start building back up. And muscle protein synthesis is when you have muscles building themselves back up and it needs a lot of protein. So muscle protein synthesis is actually optimized every 3 hours and muscle protein breakdown actually starts occurring after 3 hours. So those two things play a role together. And then if you're making sure you're taking high quality protein every 3 hours, you're offsetting that muscle protein breakdown. Now let's move on to the third major change that I made in my diet for this previous bulk. Now for this bulk, I decided to also remove processed foods and added sugar from my diet completely. I decided to just focus on whole food. Why? Because processed foods and added sugar, they have so many unnecessary calories in them, so much sodium. So you guys have to be really mindful of that. When you're ingesting just a Snicker bar, it has about like 200 calories in it. 20 grams of sugar and you're not going to be satiated. You're going to want to eat again, and sugar does that to you. Sugar makes you hungrier. You have to keep that all in mind while also making sure that you're taking in healthy sugars, such as sugars that you get from fruits and vegetables and grains. Or added sugar is what you're trying to reduce as much as you can or completely eliminate it. All that Coca-Cola you guys drink, all that concentrated orange juice has a lot of sugar as well. Processed foods, just be really mindful of it and try to just avoid them, and you see much better results and way more optimal gains, man. So make sure you're getting a very healthy, balanced, whole food diet so that you guys can see the gains you want to see. So now let's move on to everybody's favorite part, which is the workout. Now the workout, of course, is very important. So what are the changes that I made in my workout in order to make the gains that I gained? So the biggest change that I made was going from strength training routine to a more hypertrophy volume-based routine. When you work out for strength, you're doing low reps, heavy weights, and strength really comes from your neuromuscular system. I mean, of course, your muscles are involved, they have to be. So you don't have the same capacity to lift heavy weights for long durations. And if you try to lift very heavy weights for long durations, chances are you might hurt yourself, and that's something you need to avoid completely together. Now, when we talk about hypertrophy training, It's more so about causing as much micro tears in your muscle fibers as possible so that they can rebuild themselves bigger and stronger. And that is what hypertrophy is. So you're doing a lot more volume. And also I would do anywhere from 8 to 15 reps, 3 to 5 sets, and exercise. So that's just, for example, just chest alone. And mind you, I'm doing other exercises for my chest as well to really make sure I'm getting a lot of volume in there. So basically for the whole week, I was making sure to target each body part twice a week. So that means chest, legs, back, shoulders. I was hitting them twice a week, doing a lot of volume, and I was getting anywhere from 25 to 30 sets per body part each week. So now let's talk about progressive overload. Now progressive overload is something you have to do in order to see consistent gains. You must do it. So progressive overload is basically just increasing the intensity, but I think there's a better way of explaining it, and that's by giving you guys an example. So let's say today is Monday and I'm doing barbell flat bench. This week I'm doing 185, 3 sets of 10. Following week I might do 193 sets of 10 or 195 3 sets of 10. So that progressive overload is that I increased the weight, but I kept the sets and the reps the same. Now another way that I can do progressive overload is I can keep the weight the same, 185 the following week, but now I can do 3 sets of 12 or I can do 4 sets of 10. So I'm still doing more volume. I'm still increasing the intensity from the previous week, making sure that my chest has to adapt to that new stimulus. So that is progressive overload. So make sure you keep that in mind. Now let's move on to the final part of the video, which is, well, welcome back. Now that you're here, let's move on to the next section of the video, which is basically getting proper sleep and adequate recovery. Now for this section, I have my trusty iPad here and I have a list of questions that I want you guys to answer, because these questions are going to play a massive role in how you improve your sleep quality and you get adequate rest. So now let's get to the first question. The first question is, do you use your phone or watch TV or use your laptop right before bed? Now the reason why I ask this question is because we have to think about this from many different perspectives. The first perspective is the blue lights. Now, as you guys can see, I have these glasses on and I don't wear glasses, but these are blue light blockers. And the problem with blue light is, especially at nighttime, is that it tells your brain it's still daytime, making it harder for you to fall asleep and also disrupting your sleep. Now, the other part about this is looking at a phone or watching TV or using social media, whatever it may be. There are a lot of stressful things that we see on our screens. That raises your cortisol level, which then makes it harder for you to sleep because you're in a stressed state. So now let's move on to the second question here. Now the second question is, do you stay up late every night or have an irregular sleep schedule? Now the reason why this question is very critical is because your body has a circadian rhythm. So what is a circadian rhythm? That basically means your body has a time that it likes to go to sleep and a time that it likes to wake up. Now, if you're going to bed late every night, or if you're waking up at different times every other day, every single day, whatever it may be, and if you don't have a set sleep schedule, your body's in a constant state of confusion. So now let's move on to the next question. Do you eat a very heavy meal before you go to sleep? If you eat a very heavy meal, your body has to focus on digesting, and not only that, but it also raises your body temperature. Now, when you sleep, your body temperature actually decreases below baseline just very slightly, and that is required for good sleep. So you have to make sure you're not eating too close to bed, because your body needs to just focus on getting proper sleep and not digesting. So now let's move on to the following question. Alright, so now for the final question that I have for you guys, which is, do you drink large amounts of caffeine throughout the day or a few hours before bed? Now, I'm sure a lot of us love our caffeine, whether it's coffee, energy drinks, or the legendary pre-workouts that we take to have a fantastic workout. The problem is we have to make sure we're not drinking caffeine too close to bedtime, because caffeine really disrupts your sleep. As a matter of fact, you want to make sure you stop drinking caffeine by 2 p.m. at the latest, and more optimally, you want to stop drinking caffeine after like 10 a.m. in the morning, because it has such a long half-life. So make sure you're not taking caffeine too close before your bedtime, and you should be fine in that area. Now that's it for this video, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed it, and if you did, please make sure you like and you subscribe. More videos coming out, better quality videos. I'm out of practice. It's been so long since I made one of these videos, so just bear with me. I hope you guys stay true and watch it and learned a lot. So peace, love you guys, take care.